Good afternoon, and welcome to today's VetNet Entrepreneurship Track presentation, where we will be talking to the winners of the VWise Bold Enough to Make It Happen pitch plan competition, sponsored by Newman's Own, which took place at the VWise National Conference in San Antonio, Texas. My name is Michael Shenik, and I'm the program manager for VetNet here at the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. Before we get started today, how we're going to proceed is I will give a few housekeeping notes on how to ask questions if you're either participating live or watching out on our YouTube stream, and then we'll turn it over to the participants where I'll ask them a couple questions after they introduce themselves. So to get started, if you're participating live, please feel free to speak up at any point of the conversation. You can also enact your chat function by hovering over the left side of your screen and clicking the blue icon that looks like a text box, and you can type your question in the comment box out to the right. If you're watching live out on our YouTube channel, please feel free to type your comment in the comment box, and we will relay those to our presenters. And then finally, you can always type your question out on the Google Plus event page. So before we get started, I will quickly have Meghan Florkowski introduce herself. Then we'll go through the winners, and I'll have them each introduce themselves. So, Meghan?
So, hi, ladies. It's really nice to see all of you. So, I'm glad that you're settled back at home. I'm the program manager for VWise. Of course, you guys know that. But hopefully, we'll have some other folks that are watching this so they can learn from all of you as well. But I really enjoyed working with you throughout the preparation for the competition, and was so proud to see all of you do your thing up there and do a great job. So. This is for you guys, and it's also too so that we can learn from you and help others moving forward who might want to also compete in a pitch competition or business plan competition learn from you.
Thanks, Meghan. So next we'll turn it over to Pat. Pat, if you could introduce yourself, your business name, what VWise you attended, and what prize you won in the pitch plan competition.
Whew. I'm Pat Naleski. I own Navy Rack Packs. I attended the New York VWise, yay, New York, and I am grateful to say that I won $20,000, which still feels funny in my mouth, but I'm grateful. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to you, and again, congratulations to all the ladies who are participating today. Angela, we'll go to you next.
Hi, I'm Angela Cody Rouchet. My company is Major Mom. We organize homes and offices. And I attended the Denver VWise in 2013. And I'm the second place winner, and I won $10,000!
Thank you very much, Angela. Leah, we'll go to you next.
Sure. Hi, my name is Leah Olszewski, and I am the founder of FemTac. We provide women's tactical apparel and gear. I attended the Seattle VWise, and I was the third place winner, winning $7,500, which is fantastic.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Ruth Ann.
Hi, I'm Ruth Ann Hayter. I'm the owner of Deux Soldats Estate Vineyard and Ultimately Winery in Walla Walla, Washington, and I am the fourth place winner in the pitch competition, winning $5,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So my first question to all of you, and we'll start in the same order that we just went, to give a little background in the competition for those folks who are listening or watching and are not aware. The way that the ladies were judged were first they submitted an executive summary to a panel of judges. Those executive summaries were graded, and from that we selected 10 semifinalists who attended the VWise San Antonio National Conference, where each of these ladies came in and gave a 90-second pitch in front of a panel of 4 judges, and then they were ultimately selected to be finalists, where they got up on stage in front of roughly around 300 people and gave a pitch, and all did a phenomenal job. So my first question to each of you is, and again we'll start with Pat, could you talk a little bit about your preparatory steps for your developing your executive summary as well as your pitch?
My executive summary was part of an ongoing business plan, but it was a good exercise for looking at 10 years worth of data and how the trends in that data have affected the business I have now versus the business I had 10 years ago. Preparing for the pitch, is that what you want to know now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, first I wrote a speech that had to be 90 seconds long, and I worked and worked to get it at 90 seconds long, and I would drive through the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through window at about 90 seconds before he would cut me off and give me my change. And then there's a movie called A Bug's Life. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it, but when the princess stands up and she shouts, "We will build this bird!" And I took inspiration from that. So, that's sort of how I prepared. So, do you have was there something else?
No, that was great. That was great. We'll go to Angela. We'll go to you next.
Sorry.
Okay. Mike, I wanted to clarify. The question is, what were our preparatory steps for developing the executive summary, and how did we prepare for the pitch?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so getting my executive summary done, I'm not sure if this is considered as wise or cheating, but I had help. I did not try to do it on my own, and I believe in business you should never do anything on your own. You certainly should never submit an executive summary without 2 to 5 other people reading it. So as I prepared to submit, I had 5 other people that I know and respect very much read it and give me incredible feedback. And so that is, I guess, getting help and not doing it alone is a good preparatory step. And in addition to doing the research on what we should actually put in there, VWise does a great job of giving you a template in a format of what must be in there. You can't bypass what must be in there. But I added a little special flavors and things like that to show my brand. And then for preparing for the pitch, I have to admit that I am by nature an extemporaneous speaker. I'm a speech communication major, and I did speeches competition all through high school. So I also felt like I was cheating a little bit, but with that background. However, for me, preparing too much and practicing it too much would have completely obliterated my success. So preparing also is knowing who you are. If you're really good at memorizing, and the more you try to memorize it perfectly in every period and every pause, it could trip you up if that's not who you are, if you weren't an actor and used to memorizing all those lines. So I had to really think about, wait a minute, I don't think I'm going to practice this 100 times because I'm going to then trip myself up.
Thank you very much. Lee, we'll go to you next.
Okay, great. So on the executive summary, I think what happened there is it kind of forced me to review some slightly dated information, and then I learned a few new things as well in reviewing and rewriting my executive summary. It did help me to verify what I mostly knew already about my business and about the industry. And of course, I've been involved with IVMF and VWise and some other programs through Syracuse IVMF that have given me a lot of great knowledge to help me build a pretty solid executive summary. So I'm fortunate in that way. In terms of the pitch, I drove 14 hours to VWise National Conference, so I spent a lot of time along the road talking to myself, and I thought, well, people probably thought I was just on the cell phone, but so I did a lot of practicing in the truck when I was driving. Also, just in general, I did a lot of self-talk and just thinking through what I was going to be presenting to people. And I did have help from others. I was fortunate to have some people give me some great suggestions, and I'm always open to suggestions, things to help me create my message and bring it home. So there were several things I did for my pitch, and it all worked out.
Thank you very much. And Ruth Ann?
Hi, everybody. So similar to others, I used all the templates and guidance that VWise put out via email and or Hangouts. That was very helpful. I also had assistance in the executive summary from my business partner and better half, my husband. He's definitely the visionary. I'm the in the moment person. I studied elevator pitches on YouTube extensively and watched what they did. because I'd never done a pitch like that before. I did write and rewrite the pitch. I think I had 20 versions of it because I'm kind of every word means something, so I wanted to make sure I had it just the way I needed it. And then I practiced. I think unlike Angela, I needed to know it verbatim. Where I wanted to have my flexibility was in the question and answer with the judges. And so in preparing for the question and answers with the judges, having just lived through Harvest and our first full year of great production, it was all very, very fresh in my mind. That helped significantly with the question and answer. And then the executive summary also talked exactly to many of their questions, so that was very helpful. The executive summary template was excellent. I think it was a really, really good lesson, as others said, to go back and look at some of our data and revamp it a little bit and update it. So that's how a lot of help too from a lot of people, a lot of standing in front of a mirror practicing, and folks telling me do this, do that.
Thank you very much. And you know what, I'm going to go a little off script, so hopefully Megan doesn't hate me too much for this, but I think you bring up a good point, and I think you've addressed how you've done it. But Lee, why don't we start with you to talk a little bit about how you addressed potential question and answers, how you developed that strategy to kind of get in the minds of the judges with what you thought they would ask.
Okay, so I'll be honest, I was a little bit unprepared on the second judge round, so I will give that to people that you need to kind of think about. You don't always know who your judges are going to be, but you prepare as best you can. So I did miss a few answers. I'm just being honest here. I did miss a few answers and kind of go off and not give them the complete picture of what I was trying to provide, basically. So I realize that now. Can't do anything about. However, to prepare for other answers, which I felt I did a pretty good job at, I just thought about what, if you don't know about my product or service, what would you ask? Or also, if you're an expert, like some of the panel members, the judges were experts in what I was talking about, what would they ask? Because they already know a great deal. Sometimes it's easier to answer questions for people who don't know anything about the product or service in a way, and more difficult to answer for experts. So I just tried to think of, you know, what would this person ask or what would this person ask, one or the other. And then I remained flexible. I think that's the biggest thing, because you just never know what you're going to get. So flexibility is great.
Thank you very much. Angela? Angela, I think you're muted.
Oh.
We have you now. Go ahead.
Okay.
Loud and clear. Yep.
Take two. It's really difficult to prepare for what you think someone's going to ask you, but knowing what you feel they may not have answered in that 90-second pitch is what I tried to strategize. You can only get so much information into 90 seconds, and so I thought, okay, I got what I wanted to give them, but I bet you they're going to have a lot of either further refining questions on what I actually said, so I'm going to need to know more about what I actually said, but also I read through my executive summary probably 17 times before I went up to do either pitch, so that I thought to myself, good Lord, if they ask me a question from my executive summary and I can't even answer it, what does that say about me as a business person? So I read my own executive summary, and then that really helped me feel like, okay, I know my business. I've created this business, and also I reviewed my marketing plan. I reviewed my numbers. I reviewed everything about my business again before I went on, so that I felt like, all right, I know this stuff like the back of my hand.
Thank you very much. Pat, and we'll go to you next.
Angela touched upon the executive summary, and that was very important. Yes, paying attention to what was in there, and like all of us, I I don't know about the rest of you, but I used every square inch of my paper to fill my executive summary. So there was a lot of information on that document, and as I remembered what was in there, but they still stumped me. The first time they asked me a question that was at the bottom line, and I just got so tongue-tied. I was sure that I hadn't succeeded. So I don't know that you can prepare fully, ever, really. I know that's a squishy answer, but that's the only one I've got.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So we have a little bit over 10 minutes left. So how we're going to do this, I have one more question I'm going to go around, and then I'd like each of you to start thinking about kind of your parting wisdom that will give folks who are looking to potentially enter, or words of encouragement for folks who are looking to enter. So my next question, and we'll start with Lee on this one, is, what is something that you took away from this experience that you didn't either know about yourself or about competing?
Okay, sure. I think the biggest thing is that you've just got to do it. I know that's very vague and that's just a commonplace answer, but to sit on the sidelines, you do learn quite a bit, but to actually be involved and do it, put yourself out there and get feedback and move forward and move on no matter what the answer is, that's the most important thing that I took away. So, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I got.
Great, thank you. Ruth Ann?
A couple of things. I found this to be the hardest thing I think I've ever done. I can talk to anybody about my business, but when you're trying to do it from the perspective of telling people that are judging you, it got scary, I think is the right word to use. Mm-hmm. And so that, coupled with the situation I found myself in with my husband's medical emergency, and making that call to Megan to say, here's where I'm at, and I don't want to not be able to compete. I want to figure out if there's a way I can compete. And I felt great about how she said, I don't know, but we're going to find out. That helped me stay positive and stay focused with that, glimmer of hope that I was still going to be able to do it. And then when we did, that was huge. That was such a confidence builder. So I greatly appreciate that. If I haven't made that clear already. So learned that I could do this, but it was really, really hard. And the other thing I would say is set a schedule of how you're going to develop, what it is you need to do, and keep yourself to that schedule. Do not procrastinate.
Thank you. Pat, we'll go to you next.
The biggest thing I learned was how amazingly supportive this group of VWise people is. It was phenomenal to see the way we four each supported one another as we prepared to give our speeches, and then when the winners were announced, the reaction of the people there, I didn't think I could do this either, and I am so glad I did, and I'm so glad I got to know all of you guys. Yes. Okay.
Okay. And Angela?
Here we go. Okay. Pat always makes me want to cry. She's so sweet. I almost forgot what I learned because I just love listening to her. I think that what I learned is that at VWise there is a spirit of co-opetition. And that word I had heard a couple times, and I've heard in theory that it works, and I know that there's a lot of wisdom out there that says cooperation is so much better for an economy than competition. And at VWise, what I learned about myself, which is a little different from the military in some ways, is that I actually can thrive in an environment where everybody's helping everybody. And when Pat and Leah and I were practicing our pitches together the day before and giving each other pointers, I thought, what am I doing? I'm helping my competition? This makes no sense. But at the same time, I'm like, but it feels right. And so what I learned is you get further in life when you help others get further in life. And I really think VWise is helping me finally realize that.
Thanks so much. So we'll do one last round of questions. So this question again is going to be really any tips or tools or anything you want to impart on future VWise competitors or those women who are also launching their own ventures. And also, if you could just briefly hit on what this prize money means for your business, how you're going to potentially use it, and how it affects your operations. So we'll start with Pat, and then we'll work our way down in the order of the winners.
Okay, well, as I said quite loudly, I'll be buying an embroidery machine and some software, putting a little aside for repairs and maintenance, some hoops and some threads, so that we can cover the one area that slows our process down, which is customizing the curtain. So it means I'll be hiring another person to run an embroidery machine. I hope that the other three winners don't mind if I bring this up right now, but we have tentatively discussed starting a small, tiny, itty-bitty little scholarship of $100 from each of us to help pay for plane fare for a future VWise attendee. And so that's what we'd like to leave as our legacy, and I'll pass it on to someone else.
Thank you very much. Angela, we'll go to you.
I think the biggest tip I have for anybody out there listening and thinking, I don't know if I should compete. I don't know. I don't have the money. I don't know. I'm never going to win. My tip for anybody that ever lets those thoughts come into their mind, know a little wisdom is that if you actually believe that, then it is true. If you never give yourself a chance, you're never going to know. And there's something exhilarating about just competing. Mm-hmm. Winning isn't the end-all, be-all, but getting in there and throwing your hat in the circle says so much about you and others, and it shows that you're ready to make a business work, and that alone means something to your soul. As far as the money, the prize money, we have been trying to automate processes and procedures for Major Mom for quite some time, using Infusionsoft and Customer Hub for our onboarding and also selling our 5 webinars that we've created on organizing. That was a $7,000 project for creating an e-commerce and delivering webinars and upsells, and we've had that project on hold for 2 years. And I'm so happy that we're finally going to sell all this content that we spent 8 years creating, and I'm just so happy.
Thank you very much. Lee?
Yeah, sure. So I'll have to agree with Angela on a few things. One is the, working with others and helping others. I love that we're all in our own ways still serving, and I think that was fantastic. Just like Angela said, it made a big difference to all of us. So keeping yourself open and then helping others, and it's really a positive environment. And also, too, it's the same with Angela. Fear will keep you from doing some wonderful things. If you can just get beyond the fear and go ahead and do it, as hard as it may be, you will find amazing things. You'll learn so much about yourself and open your doors to opportunities. For us, the money means an e-commerce site, as well as being able to build our prototypes, build a few more prototypes, I should say, which are about $500 to $1,000 a piece, which is fantastic for us. We really needed those prototypes, and we're looking forward to it.
And Ruth Ann?
Yes, absolutely go for it. I know when I was in Long Beach and I watched the pitch competition, and I was like, wow, why didn't I know about this? And I was struggling with, I didn't understand really what it was, and then when I did and you announced it for this one, I was really excited. And so going for it, even when you're scared, is really important. And then for the $5,000, after 4 years, we've looked at long and hard at how to get a website, e-commerce website up and running for the vineyard first, and then ultimately the winery. And we found one that we want to benchmark against here recently, so we're going to use the money to contract with the web designer who did that site so that we can have our website model after the one we found that's just an amazing vineyard website. So that's our start, and then we'll have a back end of that for e-commerce when the winery gets up and running, and we have a wine club, and I get to sell all of you wine someday. So
very good. Well, thanks for sharing, and thank you to all our winners for sharing today. And I want to say congratulations again, but also to congratulations to all of the ladies who did submit, whether they became semifinalists, finalists, or they just submitted to the general competition. That is the first step to really putting yourself out there, really moving your business forward. Also, a big thanks to Newman's Own for sponsoring the pitch competition, as well as Sam's Club for sponsoring the VWise National Conference. Without them, we wouldn't be able to offer opportunities to our participants. So with that being said, it was a joy to see all of you again. We hope to talk to you soon. We hope to see you at next year's VWise National Conference. And with that being said, we'll close out the Hangout. Thanks all.
thank you. Good to see all you.